Hi, a very good afternoon to everybody. Uh, so far, only 20 attendees have been joined. So we shall wait for a few more people for 3-4 minutes maximum. And, I think we can start off by 3-5, because, number of attendees logged in are a bit less. So I think we can wait for a few more people. Hi, good afternoon to everybody once again. So I think almost all the participants have joined by now. So here I would like to welcome each one of you to our very first webinar session, the expert webinar session getting conducted by Edge Technical Solutions on various systems and solutions related to fire and safety. And here today we have our presenter, Mr. Glenn Arne, who is representing Elotec Norway on the topic advantages of using air sampling smoke aspiration system. And Elotec is one among the most sought after brands in the market for air sampling systems, and it's been widely used across the markets in Europe and Middle East. And here in UE, it is one of the popular brands. And talking about Mr. Glenn, the presenter, he is an experienced professional with more than 15 years of experience in the field of fire and safety, and oil and gas platforms. Currently, he works with Elotec as export manager, and is associated with them for more than 7 years now, where he has expertise in various departments like project commissioning, sales, after sales support, responsibility for taking courses, trainings, online trainings, both internally and externally. And before we move on to the presentation from Mr. Glenn, we request all of you to post your queries and questions to the message box so that we will answer all your questions towards the end of the presentation during the Q&A session. Thank you everybody for joining for the webinar session. Over to you, Glenn. You can start off.
Thank you for the nice introduction, Rakesh. As Rakesh said, my name is Glenn Arne. I am the export manager for Elotec. I have many years of experience in the field of fire and safety. And as Rakesh said, I have been at Elotec for 7 years. I work at Elotec, which is an innovative Norwegian supplier of alarm and surveillance. And first of all, I want to show you a video about what Elotec is all about. It will only take a few minutes, so stay tuned.
From between the mountains of the middle of Norway, Elotec has been developing and solving various demands in alarm and surveillance technology since 1992. From the headquarters in Oppdal, we create products and solutions that customers all over the world demand. We develop fire alarms, emergency lighting, and welfare technology, suited for all kinds of environments. For extra safety, we always fulfill and strive to exceed national and international requirements for product development and production. We work hard to optimize our products and software to provide you with the best and most user-friendly security systems on the market. A great working environment and sharing knowledge across different teams is something we value highly at Elotec. We don't stop until we have found a way that makes our products easy to install with enhanced safety for all users. It's a matter of lives, and our mission is to always search for the best solutions that benefit society. Therefore, we leave nothing to chance. People say everything has already been invented. We have proven, and will keep on proving, that the impossible is possible. Our skilled service crew ensures that our systems work as they should, and we will gladly deliver customized solutions for clients with unique requirements. Our fantastic teams in research and development, production, sales, support, and logistics stand together, ready to take on any challenge, and to guide and follow you all the way, so that you will always feel safe.
Now you know a little bit more about Elotec and where we are from. As the video said, Elotec was started in a small town in Norway called Oppdal. And in Oppdal, in the wintertime, it's 30 minus degrees. And in the summer, it's 25 plus degrees. So that means we have a big variation in the environment. And it's from there we also have developed our own aspiration detector, the Elotec aspect, which we are going to talk about later today. And in Elotec, we have over 80 employees. We are 8 locations in Norway. We export to 14 different countries. And we have over 1,500 dealers. And in Elotec, we love a good challenge. We have solutions for all kinds of buildings, and we have developed several outstanding safety concepts for fire detection in surroundings with special conditions. And what we are going to talk about today is the air sampling system. What is it? Where can we use it? Which air sampling system shall we use? And why shall we use it? So I think we are going to start a little basic. What is an air sampling system? The air sampling system is a unit that inhales the air from the secured area via pipe with holes. It filters and analyzes the air for smoke in the internal sensor chamber, has unique characteristics for both smoke sensitivity and environmental tolerance. And it also provides a single service point for large areas, which make it much more easier to do service and commissioning. And one thing we have to remember, that one hole on the pipe is the same as 1 point detector. And where should I use the aspiration detector? It's very good to use in large rooms that require high sensitivity, difficult environments where point detectors are unsuitable, for example, cold storages, freezing rooms, heavy industry, etc. And highly sensitive detection in special environments for computer rooms, etc., where you want the early detection. And it can also be very often and a very affordable alternative to point detectors. In some cases, if you have very big areas, maybe you need several hundred of point detectors. Instead, you can replace that with a few amount of aspiration detectors. And also then, you don't have to climb all the way up to the ceiling using a lift. You have the service point easily placed on the wall, which you do both the commissioning and you do the service. And here you also see some different kind of environments and different kind of buildings and different kind of ceiling heights. And you see the aspect checks out for everyone. You can also use heat, smoke, and beam detectors, but they are much more unsuitable for most of the environments. And especially if there is extreme amount of dust and humidity, there is no way around than to use the aspect aspiration detector. And also, if you have ceiling heights over 8 meters, you should use an aspiration detector. And one of the reasons is because of when you have that amount of air in the same room, the smoke gets vanished from the clear air, and then you'll get a very slow detection in case of a fire. And one of the reasons is we want an early detection as possible. And for getting that, we use the aspect aspiration detector. Which air sampling system are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about the Elotec aspect. And one of the Elotec aspect aspiration air sampling systems is the Grizzle. The Grizzle fits in all types of buildings, from server rooms to large industrial and garage facilities. And remember, it's also reliable even in extremely dusty areas. So this means that you have one product that you can use in clean environment, and you can also use the same unit in freezing rooms, in garage facilities, in industrial garages, etc. You have only one item to think about. And we do the adaptation, we do that in the commissioning, and we use a smartphone and an app on that. I'm going to talk a little more about that later on in the webinar. The aspect series from Elotec, we have 3 different kind of types. The grizzle, that covers almost all the market. You can use that in 95% of all occasions. But we have also developed aspect oil. That means you can use it in concert areas, etc., for stage smoke and pyrotechnic, as you saw in the video. Then we put it in a mode that will withstand the concert smoke without giving any unwanted alarms. And we also have the aspect laser. That is for the very, very clean environment, laboratories, server rooms, computer rooms, etc., where you want a very early detection. And why shall we use the Elotec aspect air sampling system? We have thought about some challenges that we will meet when we do the design and install. And one of the challenges are dust. And what does dust do? It can isolate the electronics and cause overheating. Problem also when the dust floats around in the same way as smoke particles. It builds up over time and changes the sensitivity of the sensor. And it can be interrupted as smoke and give unwanted alarms. And we don't want that, do we? And what have Elotec done? We have the solution for this problem. The solution is inside the Elotec aspect. We have an overpressure in the CPU room, pushing the dust out so the dust won't come in the aspiration detector. And the aerodynamic shape and transportation of air contract. Also, CleanMe, Vulcan, insect catcher, and diamond filters are also some additional. Intelligent HQ software, together with Elotec's IntX prevent unwanted alarms by removing flying dust. So the dust is not a problem when using Elotec aspect air sampling system. Another challenge can be steam and high humidity, and especially in the Dubai area where you have very high humidity in the air. And what is really the challenge? When combined with dust, it becomes conductive. When floating in air, it can be interpreted as smoke. Steam together with corrosive gases bind to electronics and surroundings, as long as the water forms beads on the product. Steam creates problem when freezes to ice. This clogs pipes and openings to sensor, and we don't want anything of that. And Elotec's solution to that is, in the Elotec aspect, there is a condensation filter that prevents condensation. Corrosive gases and dust are not a problem combined with humidity because of the condensation filter. And the condensation filter also removes unwanted alarms from steam. And the condensation filter and aspect assembly with several isolation chambers prevent water drops from being created. And it can only be prevented by engineering installing the system correctly. And always remember to drag the air from cold to warm if you have different temperatures on the pipeline. And of course, edges technicians and engineers will help you with that. So if you have any questions regarding the installation, etc., you can always take contact to Edge and they will help you. And another challenge can be the transportation of air. In humid environments, through changing temperatures, in combination is humid air in -degrees, from rooms with different pressures and T and Y joints on the pipeline. And Elotec's solution to that is, the solution for Elotec is that the holes are drilled in position 5 or 7 o'clock, and no holes is smaller than 3.5 millimeters in harsh environments, because first at 7 millimeter holes, water will drip out from the holes by itself. Therefore, condensation bottles are necessary with downfall towards the bottles. And you only need the condensation bottles if there is a risk for humidity. And combination humidity and minus degrees is easily solved by transporting the air from cold to warm areas. Because if you do that, you won't get that amount of humidity and condensation inside the pipes. And we also have a very strong fan with 480 pascals that solves the other challenges of transportation of the air. Another challenge can be the temperature. It can cause change of sensitivity on most detection principles, causes brittle plastic, leads to cracks, damages during transport, expansion and shrinkage of pipes and clips, and also ice expands and leads to damage. Our solution to that is we have an NTC used to compensate for temperature changes in cooperation with Elotec's intelligent HQ software. And on the pipeline, we also have longer joints and larger diameter on the clips and internal sealant on every clips. So the pipes and the joints won't go from each other. And another challenge is corrosive gases. It can etches the housing, etches the electronics, etches the core and the sensors, and etches switches and contacts. And we don't want anything of that, do we? And Elotec's solution to that is andesite aluminum, stainless steel, and halogen-free plastic. Additional coating of the PCBs will protect the PCBs, and LDR and Lexan switches are used instead of mechanical switches. That means one of the addition is when you open the door on the Elotec aspect, there ain't a switch to turn off the fan. It's a LDR sensor that when lights hit it, the fan will stop automatically. And one of the main advantages by using the Elotec aspect is the easy installation. You have everything in one unit. You have integrated power supply. It's only to connect 230 volts. If you want to connect 12 or 24 volts also as main, we can adapt the Elotec aspect to that. That's no problem at all. We have also filter against dust and condensation inside. And other brands needs external power supply, filter boxes, etc. With the Elotec aspect, you don't need that. And that also means it's a very easy service and maintenance. And some of you also do the installation of the pipes. As I said earlier, remember to drill at 5 or 7 o'clock to avoid that condensation closes the holes. Because if there will be some water inside the pipeline, it will clog the hole. So always remember to take the hole at 5 or 7 o'clock. Also remember to remove internal burrs after drilling the holes. Then you can use a smaller to remove the burrs inside the holes. And also remember to mark each hole with a sticker that's showing the hole position and the direction of the airflow. In that way, it will be much easier to find the holes when doing service on a later occasion. And you also see which direction the air will flow. And also, to understand a little bit what is happening inside of this cabinet, inside of the Elotec Aspect air sampling system, the air is dragged in from the top. And you see the main filters, the blue filter. If that one is getting clogged, less air will go through the main filter and more air will go through the flow sensor. In that way, when the main filters are clogged, the airflow will go up. And many of you maybe think that's not possible. Yes, because it is a little opposite of normal thinking. But when clogged main filter has taken place, more air will go through the flow sensor. And also, we are going to talk some of the accessories that Elotec Aspect series have. We have something called a T-hub. It makes the installation much easier. It's the plastic piece you see on the top here. You have the possibility to go in with 4 pipes. You have a water bell on the top for correct installation. And you also have a condensation reservoir on each side, and also the possibility to mount an even bigger condensation bottle if needed. And one of the main advantages by using the T-hub is due to a construction process. There is a lot of dust, a lot of workers inside the building, and instead of damaging the aspiration detector before the commissioning, you can only mount the pipes and the T-hub, and when you are doing the commissioning, you can easily snap it on and you mount the Elotec Aspect grizzle then. Then it won't be contained with dust under the building process. So we recommend to use the T-hub in every installation. And we also have the possibility for hidden detection with sniffers. If the pipes are hidden over false ceiling, etc., then you can have discrete detection for offices, for corridors. There are small plastic hoses that you go down, and you put the sniffers underneath the roof. In that way, you have a very good looking detection.
Chat.
And it has also a function that removes any chances of fly insects moving into the pipes. There is someone here having their microphone on. Can you please turn it off? And we also have something called the EloClean, automatic pipe cleaning system. This could be a good addition to where it's extremely amounts of dust and dirt inside of the pipes. And also if it's difficult to get access to cleaning the pipes. This does it automatically. It can be adjusted to do it 1 time a week, 1 time every second day, 1 time a day. And it has a function that closes the inlet to the Elotec Aspect, and it blows outside the pipe. So the air don't come inside the Elotec Aspect, but only through the pipeline. So this can also be a good addition. So you know that this is possible. But remember, this is not needed in every installation. It's where the environments are so harsh, and or is it too difficult to clean the pipes? Then you may need this one. And if you have questions regarding what kind of accessories do I really need on my installation, remember you can always contact Edge to get good advice. And another accessories we have is the Vulcan pre-filter. It's used in the most extreme environments. This is a cyclone, and it removes larger particles and water before entering the aspect. And there are separate bottles for dust and water. And remember, this is conductive plastic material, so remember the grounding. So there are no power supply to this filter. It's a mechanical cyclone filter. But remember, this is also only needed and used in the most extreme environments. If it's a very small and light dust particles, it won't be needed. Then the filters inside the Elotec aspect will take out the dust. Only used for big and heavy particles. And we also have some software. Some of the softwares we have is the pipe draw. It's a design and calculation software for the pipelines. It does the whole calculation and pipe type topology for installer. And it also does the verification of rules and guidelines for the authorities, and also check the vacuum. You know which kind of diameter you shall drill on the holes, also which position you shall make the holes. And you also get what is the transportation time for the smoke from each separate hole. So this is a very good tool to use when designing the pipes. And if you have further questions regarding the pipe draw, I would like you to contact the Edge service team, and they can help you with this one. They have used it for several years now, and I would say they are experts in the field of designing pipelines. So please ask them for good advice by pipe design. And we also have an own commissioning and maintenance tool. It's a tool called Aspect Tool. You can download it from App Store or Google Play. And it's a tool that does the commissioning and calibration, and you do it on your smartphone. You have a wireless Wi-Fi connection between the phone and the aspiration detector. And you can see the flow rate, you can see the voltage, and you have different kind of settings you can do due to what kind of environment the Elotec aspect should stand in, and you do the adjustments due to that. So one of the things we do recommend is before the first time that you are going to install the Elotec aspect air sampling system, you shall contact and also get a small training in those software tools. And it's quite easy to use. You can see that from this picture, so it's not very difficult to use, but you can get a few tips and tricks by contact the Edge technical support team. And also, if you wonder, where have this aspiration detector that is called the Elotec aspect, which is produced in a small mountain village in Norway? Do we have any good references? We have in Norway a big indoor skiing resort, like you have in Dubai. This is 40,000 square meters, and this one is covered by almost 40 Elotec aspects. And we also have this one. This is called S Group Logistics Center. It's a warehouse in Finland, and it also had 50% of this building is cold storages. And when this building was built, it was the world's 7th largest building. And on the place above, there was NASA in the USA. So it's quite big. And in these buildings only, there is over 450 aspiration detectors. And we also have very many good local references. This project has more than 20 aspects installed, and that's also a quite big facility. It's the Velocity Chemical Warehouse. It will be the largest single warehouse unit in the UAE, and it will be the only chemical warehouse with built-in high-quality value-added service in the GCC. And here, everyone have heard of Carrefour stores in Dubai. The Elotec aspect is installed in multiple cold storages. Facilities inside the Carrefour protects against incident fire and smoke hazards. And also several warehouse, London Dairy ice creams, more than 15 aspect panels. And here you have the Al Nisir publishing, and the Elotec aspect is doing a quite good job there by controlling the control room and secure that one. And that's the main control room in this building in the Gulf News. And also Fresh Fruits Company, more than 60 Elotec aspiration detectors have been used in the cold storages. That's also a quite big facility. And when I say in cold storages, the temperature in the cold storages can be -30, -40 degrees. And you may wonder, where shall we place the aspiration detector then? You can easily place it inside the cold room. We recommend that because one of the main advantages you get then is that you don't get any temperature differences. And when you have big temperature differences, then you get build-up humidity and condensation. And the electronic and the fire sensors inside the Elotec aspect will manage to stand inside temperature up to -40 degrees. So remember that. And also Expo 2020 installed 4 panels in one of the food courts at Expo 2020 Dubai. And also Glen Records, one of the biggest record maintenance facilities in Dubai. Building stores very sensitive information of bank records, and there is more than 7 Elotec aspects panels that are installed there. And one of the reasons is if there is a fire here or a smoke, they want an early detection as possible. So there was no way out. There was only one product that could manage that, and that was the Elotec aspect. And remember, together we create safer days. And Edge Technical Solutions are the authorized distributor for Elotec in the whole region that you live in. And always remember to contact them if you have any questions. Also feel free to go on our webpage to see more. And now maybe Rakesh want to take over.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Glenn, for the wonderful presentation. And I hope that all that attendees could grab the details very clearly.
Rakesh, just to interrupt you, you have a little bad sound. You have to close down the sound on one of the users. To mute.
Just a second. I hope that now that the disturbance is gone. Hi, Glenn, and now I think it's clear.
We have very difficult to hear you, Rakesh, because of there is a user on the system that is called Edge Technical Solutions, and we have to mute that user.
Yeah, just wait for a minute. We'll just try to clear it out. And I hope now that issue is solved out. No, so shall we start off with the question and answer session? I think that issue is sorted out clearly. So thank you, Mr. Glenn, once again for the wonderful presentation. And I hope that all the attendees could grab all the basic fundamentals very clearly. And we'll move on to the first question from Mr. Vijay. His question is, can Elotec panel work with 230 volt AC, 60 hertz frequency range with the main supply? That means I hope he is referring to the Saudi market. There the power supply option is 230 volt AC, 60 hertz. So you can answer to that first.
Yeah, the power supply for the Elotec aspect is meant for 50 hertz. So in those cases, we would need a small converter, but we are working on to do some new tests and maybe implement a switch so we can use the 60 hertz. So we will, of course, inform Edge when that is done. So we will make sure that you get a notice. But today, unfortunately, you have to use a converter over to 50 hertz.
So Vijay, I hope that this clarifies your doubt. And we'll move on to the next question from Mr. Benny. He says, there is a flow sensor before the filter. So is there any flow sensor after the filter to know the filter is clogged or not?
The flow sensor works in separate ways because it's constant measures the airflow inside the hole of the aspiration detector. And when the filter are clean, less air will go through the flow sensor. But when the filters get clogged, more air will go through the flow sensor. So it will measure both of them. So we only need one flow sensor exactly by doing it in that way.
Hi, Mr. Benny. Hope that your question is clarified clearly. So now let us move on to the third question from Mr. Ansar Riaz. He has two questions. The first question is, what kind of pipe we can use for Elotec air sampling? And do you have any project reference in Saudi Arabia?
There are still some noise on one of the users, Rakesh. So are you able to mute?
I think there is another user. I think from there only the interruption comes.
To answer your question about regarding the pipes, we of course recommend to use the Elotec pipes. And one of the reasons for that is because all of the measurements and calculation that is done in the calculation program PipeDraw. The pipes, original pipes, are used to get those values. But to say our pipes has 25 millimeters outside diameter. So if you find similar pipes, you can of course use them, but we do recommend to use the original pipes. And regarding the references in, was it Saudi Arabia, you said, Rakesh?
Yes.
Yes, then I think Edge would be the right people to answer that one.
As of now, we don't have any project reference in Saudi, but we are expecting to get a few good orders very soon. So I hope that that clarifies the doubt from Mr. Ansar Riaz. So we'll move on to the next one, which is from Mr. Mohammed Akram. His doubt is, what is the application of the system? Basically, he's asking where all this Elotec air sampling system can be used.
It can be used from if you have an office building, you can use it there. If you have a cold storage with 40- degrees, you can use it there. If you have a great stock hall, you can use it there. A shopping mall, a parking garage. So the answer, you can use it everywhere. You do the adjustments on the commissioning tool. So you have one product that you can use everywhere. And you have also the possibility to change the sensitivity. So its standard has the sensitivity class B, but due to very harsh environments, you have the possibility to adjust it down to sensitivity class C as well. So that makes the Elotec aspect very adjustable, and that can be used in very many different applications.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next participant, Mr. Abdul Rahman, his question is, in freezing area, do we need to place the panel inside or outside the room? That's what the question is.
Yeah, I would recommend to place it inside. And one of the reasons for that is because if you place it inside, you won't get any temperature differences. So that would be the best. And if the temperature is down at 40 degrees, minus 40 degrees, it's still okay.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Nuwais Harris. His question is, how many seconds does it take to sense the presence of smoke? Once it is, once the smoke is been detected, how much time does it take to activate the system? Maybe in case of fire alarm activation, that's what this question means.
That also depends on how much smoke, how long pipeline there is, how many holes. But the correct answer to that is that those things will be verified in the calculation program PipeDraw. So when using PipeDraw, you will get those answers because it can be many different answers due to many different kind of facilities. So you will get.
Yeah, I think you can, maybe you can mention like what would be the maximum time taken to get a response.
We don't recommend, but that is also strictened by local regulations. I know for you, you don't have any larger of time than 120 seconds. That's the maximum you can allow to do. So I think that will be the correct answer.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Jairam Malia. His question is, in case of power failure, how the system works? Does it have the battery backup as in any other fire alarm systems?
Yes, it has. We have the possibility to have different kind of battery backup. You have also the possibility to have the mains power as 24 or 12 volts. So if you have a UPS, for example, you can have that as the only power supply if you want that as well. And then you know the system will never fall out due to electrical faults.
Thank you, Glenn. I hope that Mr. Jairam has got the clear answer for that. And now the next question is from Mr. Mohammed Adil. I think he has referred to one particular project requirement. He has mentioned that if we have cold warehouse, maybe the warehouses with the cold rooms or freezer rooms with 22 rooms in it, different air temperature in each room. So how many systems or panels would we require? Basically, this question, I'll just brief it. He has a warehouse complex with 22 cold or freezer rooms with different temperatures in it.
I understand, Rakesh. That also can be a little difficult to answer due to how big the rooms are, how close they are to each other, etc. So I would recommend you, Mohammed, to send the drawings to Edge, and I can also help you and Edge by doing the calculations and the design of that. So please send us the drawings and we will give you an answer.
Thank you, Glenn.
Because it's difficult, unfortunately, to say without knowing how big rooms they are, how far apart they are, etc. So please send us the drawing and we will give you a good answer, Mohammed Adel.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Jamil. How can the sensor coverage area be calculated to know the length of the pipe? So yeah, he want to know the length of the pipe if a particular area is given.
Yeah, that is also some different kind of answers to, because of the length of the pipes and the coverage area is restricted due to local regulations. And you can always put in the local regulations easily in the settings in the PipeDraw calculation program. And if you do that, you get an ABC how to do. You draw easily the pipes, and then one pipe will get the correct coverage area due to the local regulation where the system shall be fitted. So the answer to that one is also it will be managed by the calculation program PipeDraw.
Thank you.
But
Thank you,
we
Glenn.
recommend no longer pipes than 100 meter. And in Europe and Norway, we have a rule that one hole on the pipe have a maximum coverage on 80 square meters under 6 meter ceiling height. And when it's over 6 meter, it's maximum of 100 square meters.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Vivek. He has a request to compare the advantages of Elotec brand over Vesda. So his question is basically how can we recommend Elotec over Vesda?
Oh,
Vesda is
that
another
was,
brand in the market.
thank you, Vivek. That was the most fun question I have gotten today. So how long time do we have? Vesda is also air sampling system. Elotec has a different kind of technical specifications. Among you can mount the Elotec aspect inside the cold storages. You can't do that with Vesda. The Elotec air sampling system also have a bigger and more powerful fan due to get shorter transportation time. And we also have a very good calculation program. It's called PipeDraw. We have everything in one unit that makes the installation much easier and faster. And I can go on and go on, but there are many things that I would recommend Elotec for over than Vesda. And that is maybe some of the most important. And of course, the quality. Elotec is produced in Norway. We have a very big temperature differences in the summertime and the wintertime. And we needed to produce a product that could withstand the big temperature differences and the environment differences we have in Norway. We started with the agriculture. And agriculture in Norway are small wooden buildings, and they are not isolated. So in the wintertime, there are 40 minus degrees inside. And in the summertime, it can, upside under the roof, it can get 40, 50 plus degrees. So that means in some occasions in Norway, we have a difference in the temperature in the summer and winter for maybe between 80 and 100 degrees. And Vesda also tried to do the agriculture in Norway, but they didn't succeed.
Thank you, Glenn. So the next question is from Mr. Abdul Rahman. His doubt is, if the pipe holes or the sampling points are getting closed in freezing temperatures, that means that the holes are getting blocked. So do we have any heating element to remove these blocks, ice blocks?
In the worst cases, it's an impossibility. But Edge and Elotec has so many years of experience by mounting this product inside the cold storages and also the pipes, of course. And one of the best tips that I can give you, Abdul, is by mounting the pipes 15 to 25 centimeters below the ceiling. Because when you open the gates or the door into a freezing room, you get the vapor right away. And the vapor will stick to all the surfaces. So if you take the pipes a little down from the ceiling, it won't get clogged. But if it's a really extremely environment, there's of course a possibility to mount some heating elements. But in 95% of the times, there is not necessary if you fulfill the requirements.
I hope that it answers to the question from Mr. Abdul Rahman. And the next question is from Mr. Shajin. His doubt is, if you are using 4 pipes in one panel, how many Eloclean are required? Eloclean, the panel, no? That is what is asking for.
Yeah, we didn't talk so much about the Eloclean. So for those who are wondering, Eloclean is the automatically pipe cleaning system that blows high pressure air and cleans the pipes. And if you have one aspiration detector, Elotec aspect with 4 pipes, then you need 2 Elocleans.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next one is from Mr. Azhar Ahmed. His doubt is how many maximum air sampling points can be allowed for one panel, and if in a large facility with maximum points considered, how can I know which exact point location is activated, as the panel is not showing any address? I hope you got the question clearly.
Yes, I did understand, Rakesh, and thank you for the question, Azhar Ahmed. On the Elotec aspect, you have 2 sensors. You have area 1 and area 2. So if you have the pipes on the left side, that's area 1, and pipes on the right side is area 2. So when it does detect a fire on one of the holes on area 2, you name that area by the connected I/O, for example, or the input you are using, and you get the name. But of course, you don't get exactly what kind of hole on the aspiration detector that has on the pipeline that has detected the smoke. Due to almost every kind of installation when using aspiration detector, it's used in very big areas, big rooms, and you can compare if you had used maybe point detectors in a big warehouse, for example. And if there would be a smoke in the warehouse and you have maybe 50 point detectors on the roof, in the ceiling, maybe 15 of those have gone into fire mode. And instead of getting 15 different kind of fire messages, you only get 1 by using the Elotec aspect, and that's a great advantage. But it can difference between area 1 and area 2. Thank
you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Mohammad Nurul Amin. He has the doubt. He has his question is on the network options possible with the panels. Is there any network option possible?
You only do the connection to the fire loop. So you don't have the aspiration detectors in any kind of network. You have a wireless network when you do connect to the commissioning tool, but that is the only one. So we don't want any more possibility sources to service messages and fault. So only connected to the loop and 230 voltage, and that's all.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next one is from Mr. Jamil. How many pipes installed inside the freezer? I think the question is not clear. Maybe he's referring to one particular project requirement. So maybe it depends upon the project specs also. So I hope we can move on to the next one. Sheikh Humayun, he asks battery backup option for the panel, for the Elotec panel.
We have different options there. So thank you for the question. We have one option is by using the battery, but also in different kind of areas, there are different kind of demands for backup time. So we have the possibility to have different kind of batteries inside the Elotec aspect. We also have a product called the Powerhouse that will fit 4 7 amps 12 voltage batteries that will withstand most of the requirements all over the world. And we also have the possibility to have the mains supply as 24 or 12 voltage DC. And due to that, if you have 12 or 24 voltage, it's always connected to a UPS or a power bank or something. So that is the options you got.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Dakhil. He's asking the options for BMS interface with the Elotec panel.
I'm not quite sure what you are meaning by that one. So if you can...
So maybe it's referring to an option to directly interface the Elotec panel to a BMS, or is should it happen through a fire alarm? I think that's what he's asking for.
That can be solved by using the outputs on the aspiration detector to activate some of the BMS equipment. So we have an output that will give fire, and also false. So due to that, you can have the interface due to top systems, etc.
So that means it should happen through the fire alarm side.
Yeah, but also it's possible to do it on the fire panel that is connected to the Elotec aspect. So you have different kind of possibilities.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. And the next one is from Mr. Sheikh Humayun again. How optics are protected from dust particles? Do the product has drift compensation? How false alarms can be reduced?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have a drift compensation, and it will compensate up to a certain level. But to reduce that hazard, as I said, inside of the Elotec aspect, it's a constant overpressure, so that the dust won't come inside. It will only go through the sensors. And on the PCB, on the sensors, we have an extra sealant, so it won't get unnecessary content. And if it has done the drift compensation too much, then we will get the clean me message. But that can take 10 years, 15 years. It's difficult to say. It's due to what kind of environment the aspiration detector will stand in. And how false alarms can be reduced. You have the possibility to reduce the sensitivity. I can give you one example. If it is in an industry hall where there are workers from maybe 6 in the morning to 6 in the night, you have the possibility to have sensitivity class C in that room. And after the workers have gone home, you have the possibility to have a lower, because it's less activity and less smoke maybe. So you have the possibility to difference between the sensitivity levels, and also due to the condensation filter, that also will make sure that the electronics and the sensor won't get contaminated.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is from Mr. Anuj. I think it's a repetitive question, which the question asks, it mentions the pipe holes getting covered with ice in cold temperatures. I think we already answered to that before.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next one. Mr. Akhil had asked a question to us before regarding the BMS interface. So he has a concern again. It seems that we don't have any relay contact available in Elotec panel for fault interface. That means his concern is for the fault interface with the fire alarm, there is no relay available. Is there any solution to it?
Yeah, we have a fault relay. We also have the possibility to mount an extra interface inside the aspiration detector. So please do contact Edge for that. And the extra card is called IB2010, and I will make sure that the Edge has the information to provide you.
Thank you, Glenn. And the next question is there any heating thermistor provided in the sampling holes while installed in cold storages to prevent icing? I think we already answered to that question, right?
Yeah, and to remember to re-say my answer to if there is a problem by that the holes are getting clogged due to ice, then please take and lower the pipeline, maybe 25 centimeters, 30 centimeters from the ceiling, and most of the icing problems will disappear.
Thank you, Glenn. And then the next question is, what are the unique feature makes Elotec to stand out from other competitors? I think you would have answered that question from one Mr. Vivek's comparison question on Elotec and Vesda.
Yeah, and one of the main advantages are you can install it almost everywhere. It's the condensation filter we have inside, and the things I talked about earlier.
Thank you, Glenn. And I think the next statement is from Mr. Humayun. Best part about Elotec is the ease of programming and fault finding through a mobile phone. Possibility to keep in minus temperatures, many accessories for very type of dusty environment, many options for battery backup, direct with inbuilt battery, 24-volt DC from fire alarm panel, 12-volt DC from PSU backed up with a battery. So I hope that he has highlighted the benefits of the system.
Yeah, thank you for the very good feedback. That's very nice to hear. I appreciate that one.
Thank you, Glenn. Is there any, and the next question is again from Mr. Vivek, is there any system available for cold storage room other than air sampling detection?
We would recommend the air sampling detection. And one of the reasons is because of you get an early detection. But if there is maybe a very small cold storage, maybe in a canteen or something like that, it's possible to mount some heat detectors. So please talk to Edge about what kind of other options they have. But of course, we do recommend the air sampling detection.
Thank you, Glenn. I think we have a few highlights from Mr. Humayun again. Normally, air sampling detection is always connected to the fire alarm system and not BMS directly.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think we have almost covered an hour of session. I think due to the limitation in the time, I will move on to the final question of the day. And I think rest of the questions can be answered to the attendees personally to their email IDs. So one more question I'll select from here.
And I can also just, Shaikh had a good comment on here. The ASD for cold rooms is as per latest UA-CD regulation. There is no other systems allowed in cold or freezer rooms. So thank you for that information. That sort out many of the questions.
Thank you. And the final question of the day, I think we can conclude the question and answer session with this one. It's from Mr. Anuj. Is there any maximum temperature in which aspiration detection works in? Minus 30 degree or minus 40 degree? I believe the panel operating temperature is from minus 30 to 55, plus 55 degrees Celsius. So if the panel is kept inside minus 35 degrees Celsius in an ice cream freezer, can it cause any issue?
No, if you have both of the pipes and the aspiration system inside minus 35 degrees, it will work just fine. But only remember that some of the batteries will have a shorter lifetime if the batteries also are mounted inside that cold area. But the detection will work just fine and will not have any shorter lifetime, only the batteries. So it will work fine. And to answer the other question, we can mount it due down to minus 40 degrees, and also we can have up to 60 degrees.
Thank you, Glenn, once again for giving clear-cut answers to all the questions from our attendees. And we have many more to answer further. I hope that we can give personalized answers to their email IDs after the session. And to all the participants, thank you once again for attending over Zoom, over YouTube, over Facebook. Thanks for the time spent with us. And right after the session, you will get a feedback form in your browser. You can give your valuable feedbacks and suggestions to us, which will help us to improve our upcoming sessions in a better way. And also, in case if you are not able to fill in the feedback forms, you will be getting an email also. Whenever you get time, you can give us valuable suggestions from your end. And you can contact us for any queries and support through this contact details given here. Our email ID is info@edge-ts.net. And contact number is 045145711. Also, you can follow us through our social media handles in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, we request all of you to stay tuned for our next webinar, which is scheduled to happen very soon from one of our suppliers called EML. It is a emergency lighting solution provider from Hungary, and expert name is Mr. David. He's a person who takes care of the technical side of the systems. He will talk more about, we'll give a detailed session about the 24-volt central battery systems, which is a new solution introduced in the market, which is already been approved by the local civil defense authorities here. So let's stay tuned for that session very soon. We hope all of you would join for that session as well. And thank you once again for everybody, to Mr. Glenn and to the coordinators who has arranged this wonderful session. And for further information, you can visit our website. You can go through all the products and services that we deal with, and you can know more about our company profile and everything from the website www.edgetechnicalsolutions.com. So thank you all. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Bye bye, everybody.
See you.